Melissa Lipinski-Meltzer is a Christian counselor in Shelbyville, Indiana. Her work includes grief counseling, a subject she knows firsthand. Melissa lost her first husband after a 13-month battle with cancer.
We sat down at the very beginning and we said, we have to believe that no matter what happens, God is good. He loves you, He loves me, He loves our kids, and He knows what's best.
I know I was crying a lot. I was uncontrollable that way. Many times I'd just be crying.
Counselors like Meltzer deal with all kinds of patient issues. In some ways, grief and loss may be the most difficult.
There's no medicine to help with grief. Grief is with the heart. It's not in the head. And so that's a different type of feeling, a different type of experience that people go through. A lot of people try to intellectualize grief, and you can't do that. It goes straight back to the heart.
Lily Mays worked 10 years in hospice, but decided she needed more time to devote to grieving patients. She opened up her own practice in Greenwood, Indiana, and deals primarily with those suffering from loss. She named her practice Above the Waves, after the story in Matthew 14, where Jesus walked on water and gave his terrified disciples strength and courage.
A lot of people are angry with God when they're grieving. I found that out. They don't want to go back to church, or they're asking why. And why is a question you cannot answer. This is a storm that people are going through, but I'm going through with them. And if I'm going to be one of maybe the captain of the boat, I want to make sure that I have the biggest life support I could possibly have, and that's Christ.
I'm here because I lost my grandfather.
Finding a support group can be very helpful to those facing grief. To be with others going through the same loss directly relates to 2 Corinthians 1, where we are told to comfort those in trouble with the comfort we receive from God.
I think a lot of times people are just comforted by the fact that they know that the person sitting across from them has dealt with some deep grief themselves and kind of understands some of what they're going through, because not everybody is going to understand 100% what anybody else's grief journey is going to be like, because it's all very unique to that person.
Both Meltzer and Mays deal with non-Christians in their practices and respect an individual's decision about faith. But they also know that the road to true healing leads eventually back to the cross.
I think as Christians we have hope. Non-Christians don't have that hope. They just don't.
When they believed that there was a good place that they were going to, that heaven was on the other side, that death was much easier. I saw amazing things when people did not believe that there was anything, that once they took that last breath, that life was over, that they were done. The deaths could be much harder.
I am very comforted by the fact that I know exactly where he is. I got to see that transformation in him, especially those last 4 or 5 months, 3 or 4 months. And so there's no doubt in my mind where he's at.